It's finally here, Terry. The final episode of Breaking Bad. Let's go out with a bang.
Well, Walt did, so we might as well follow suit.
Welcome back to the Almost Sideshow, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam. That is Terry. We are breaking down Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad.
I'm going to miss that soundbite. Soundbite.
That's definitely going to have to go in the Hall of Fame of sound bites. Just keep it. Don't delete it. Yeah. One last time, we're breaking down Breaking Bad.
Well, kind of.
Breaking Bad.
Well, we still got El Camino, but
we're not breaking down a Breaking Bad movie yet, okay? Break down a Breaking Bad. Break All right. down a Breaking Bad. Yay! At least my I've contributed something to this. I've contributed something to this podcast. A hell of a soundbite. Anyway, yeah. We are breaking down this final episode of the season of season 5, episode 16, titled Felina, which aired September 29th, 2013. The highly anticipated finale, the most watched episode of the entire show with 10.3 to 10.5 million viewers, which is a really big number. It beat it out by like 4 million viewers. I was kind of looking on this. It was a crazy number. We're going to get into it for sure. And I think we should mention like all-time great like TV finales. I think that should be mentioned when we do our end of awards, because it's in my top 5. I do have a list. But anyway, I have an ideas of a list. So
concept of a list.
The concept of a list. That's it. But this is a fantastic way to kind of close out the Walter White chapter of the show. We do get like a kind of a part 2 with the Jesse Pinkman with the El Camino chapter here. But I will say this, I've been mentioning, this is the one part I didn't have seen before, is that ending pan out of Walter White laying there. I remember seeing vividly back in 2013 after this episode aired, that image plastered on social media of him dying. So that's the one part I've seen before. How we got there, I don't know. And I honestly thought he was going to die. I didn't know exactly where that took place. I thought it was in that house when they were starting to, the gunfire was going off, but I don't want to spoil too much of the conversation. So I think we should just go to the synopsis and then dive into all the goodness that we have.
I was wondering where you had seen it. We'll talk about it. But yeah, let's get into this. All right. One last episode. Here we are. Breaking Bad, season 5, episode 16 is entitled Felina. The final chapter in the Walter White saga begins with stealing a car. This random Volvo he drives all the way from New Hampshire to Albuquerque, where his first stop is Elliot and Gretchen's house. He tells them that they will gift his money to his children as yet another act of charity benefiting those affected by meth. If not, he has hired 2 hitmen to be watching their every move. These 2 hitmen are just Badger and Skinny Pete in the bushes with laser pointers, but the message was received loud and clear. He then pays a visit to Todd and Lydia at their weekly rendezvous spot at the diner, claiming he has a new method of producing meth without the methylamine, which Todd is almost out of. This is because Jesse has continued to be the slave of the gang running the lab. Todd agrees to a meeting that night between him and Uncle Jack to talk business, but the vibe is the meeting will not be productive in that way. Now, word is getting out. Walter White is back in town. Marie calls to tell Skyler, who doesn't let on that she already knows, since Walt is standing in the same room when she gets the call. He has come to say goodbye to Skyler and Holly and indirectly Walter Jr. He leaves behind the lottery ticket with the GPS coordinates to the burial ground of Hank and Gomi. Then Walt is off to his meeting, in his new car complete with machine gun and trunk. The meeting goes as expected. Instead of talking business, a gun is pointed at Walt's head. Right before the trigger is pulled, He accuses them of not being men of their word since they are now in business with Jesse Pinkman instead of killing him like he hired them to do. To prove him wrong, they bring Jesse into the room. Walt immediately jumps on Jesse, hits his remote button, and the machine gun pops out of the trunk and unloads all the ammo on the room. Almost everyone is instantly killed. Walt is hit, Uncle Jack is wounded, but Jesse survives since Walt was on top of him and protected him. Todd was also unharmed, but Jesse immediately attacked him and killed him. Uncle Jack took a bullet to the head from Walt, avenging the death of Hank. Lydia calls a now deceased Todd to see if Walt is dead. Walt answers and tells her Todd and all his men are dead, and Lydia is about to die too, since Walt slipped his hidden ricin in her tea.
Finally, a kill. Direct hit.
Now it's just Walt and Jesse. Jesse drives away, finally free. Walt goes to the lab for one last look before he falls down dead. The cops come in and end the saga of Walter White. There it is.
Part of me kind of wants to see what Skyler and Flynn are doing after this, and like how their response is when it actually happens, and like seeing Marie's face when you get the coordinates revealed and everything like that. But at the same time, it's those, it is a good ending and closing to the incomplete saga of that is the Whites and Walter specifically. So this is a really awesome finale. It gave us pretty much everything I would really kind of want. Gave us some really the most crowd pleasing moment of the entire saga was when Jesse killed Todd in such a great way too. Arlette was saying, she's like, good. Yeah. It should be him who kills him. That's great. It's really good. It would feel like unlike justly if he got hit with a bullet or something like that.
Yeah. My wife's reaction when Jesse got him is, so Todd doesn't survive to be in Civil War? Okay.
Okay.
Just making sure.
Yeah. That conspiracy theory is no longer happening.
Yes.
Darn it. It's kaput. Another great crowd pleasing moment too is when Uncle Jack's like, "You want to know where your money is? I'll let you know. It's right over." Kills him just like he killed Hank. Mid-sentence,
bullet to the head.
And it's not like he doesn't care about the money. It's not about the money now. It's about getting payback. So making sure that his family is taken care of. Obviously, his whole plan was he's dying that night. And there was some really two big moments here that really gave closures to people with Walt. The Skyler scene and the Jesse scene. Jesse saying, no, you need to say that I want this, and then I'll pull the trigger. And he said, I want this. And he said, do it yourself, because he's already been hit. And then the Skyler things, if I hear you, I was about to say, if he says family one more time, it's going to be... He's like, don't say it's like I did it for myself. And that's the most honest answer you could give. And it's finally, piece of honesty. And Skyler believes it because that's absolutely right. So I'm kind of curious to see how they react when Gretchen and Elliot give the Flynn the money in a couple 10 months. I kind of am interested about if they're going to put the pieces together. The police, I don't think necessarily.
When Flynn finally turns 40, 18.
Yeah, geez, they try to make him so goth or troubled. Sorry, they try to make him so troubled with those cargo pants. Yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of interested by that. That I the police. I think there's a part. I think there's a part of it where I think Skyler's going to think that's going to be from it's the money from Walt, but at the same time, it's coming from a party that you wouldn't expect it to be from Elliot and Gretchen type of thing.
Yeah, it'd be the last people you would think because they've completely disowned him. Before that, he basically burned that bridge every way possible.
Yep.
But and it's interesting. You watch that. and you see how it begins, and you think about how the last one ended, and we were talking about how it looked like, pride finally got the better of him again, and he's going to go back. It had been a while, and I forgot that this was like the very first thing that came out of it, or that popped up in the last episode. I remember this happens where he goes and meets with Ellie and Gretchen. But after I saw that scene again, I went, it wasn't pride. It was he got the idea. I mean, yeah, yes, there's a little bit of pride there, right? He clenches his fist and he's like, "You're not going to do this to me." But then he's like, "That's how I get them my money. They're the way, and I'm going to go make everything right."
Yeah, and I love it how he said, if there's any fees, lawyer fees, banking fees, whatever,
Comes out of this,
you do not pay with your own money.
Mm-hmm.
It is that's where the pride said it right there. It's
Oh yeah,
he doesn't want to hand out. There's always a little pride with Walt.
Well, because he hates them. You can tell. Yeah. He hates them.
Yeah. And it's official. Gretchen was the girl in that, like, one of the flashback sequences at the beginning of the show, right?
Oh, where the chemistry where they were talking about the. Oh yeah, that was totally Gretchen.
Okay, that's like, because you could see it, but like, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about Gretchen later. But I love it how he hires like the two worst hitmen of all time. Definitely Badger and Skinny Pete, man.
It's a thing called talent. They don't got it.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's
no. When that happens, my wife's reaction. He pulls off to the side of the road, and they come running out, and she goes, "What? Did he hire QB?" And I said, "Better." And she goes, "No." And yeah, it's Badger and Skinny. Who else could it be? Yeah. And that's what makes this episode so great. Like it wraps everything up, but has all the callbacks. Like we get to see them one more time, and it doesn't feel forced. Like who else is he going to call in that moment? Yeah, they're the only ones he could. Like who knows where QB's at right now? Huell's still on a couch somewhere.
Yeah, we know where Huell's at.
Yeah.
He's definitely not running.
He's not gonna. Yeah, he would mess that up. You'd hear him wheezing from inside the house. And then, but yeah, there's no one else he could turn to. Those are the only two.
Yeah,
because they know him, they know who he is, and he trusts them. Like as inept as they might be, he trusts them. And then Ellie and Gretchen, it's the only way. It's logical, so we get the callback, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I love it's not like just calling back people just to like it's not the finale of Seinfeld where it's like let's just roll through all the people that have ever been on the show in this courtroom. These all make sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was trying to think like who's the only other person that I would love to see back, and I think it probably fits more in like El Camino. It's Wendy. You got to have Wendy back.
We did not see Wendy again. It's true. Yeah,
it'd be funny to see her pop up in El Camino, but I don't
remember if she pops up in El Camino. We'll have to watch it and find out. But yeah, it is a great finale in that it, like I said, it has the callbacks you want. It gives you the nostalgia and the sentimentality you need. It brings the closure it needs while also not compromising.
Mm-hmm.
Like it ends the way it has to end. Like this is the only way it could end, right? It can only end with Walter White's death. That's how it had to end.
And I think with that only logical conclusion of like Walter's dying at the end of this, it feels not as substantial, as epic as the previous two episodes, because those were just so heavy and so like there's so many other affecting characters and parties that are happening in those two previous entries, where this one, it's like it's a damn good episode. It's just not like the best out of this. Probably not in the top 3 episodes. It's probably like it's in the top 5, I would say. But like again, like going back to what Todd said, like the back half of this season is fantastic television, and even though it's not like wouldn't consider like the best episode of the season. Probably Ozymandias or even Granite State, I think would be up there with me too. Probably a couple other ones I can't think of the titles at this moment, but Confessions and Rapid Dog are also really good ones. But
Dead Freight.
Dead Freight too. Yeah, those are like just really awesome episodes. So seeing, this one, and you know where it's going. In being a person I haven't seen the steps to get to that ending shot that I've seen before, it gives me everything I want. But those other episodes were like completely unexpected. I didn't know exactly how, what was going to happen to any of them. So being my first time watch, it's like it's a great way to end the show. It's just those other episodes just were like way shocking or like way monumental for what the show is. So
yeah. So a couple things there. First, this episode, I mean, if I were to describe it, I would describe it as
tight. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
It is such a tight episode.
It seems short.
It's the longest episode. It's 55 minutes. It's the longest episode the show's had. But it seems so short because there's so much jam-packed into it. I get what you're saying. It is a brilliant finale.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way it could have ended, and it lives up to the rest of the show. At the same time, I feel like there's almost a little bit of disappointment in it, but I think the disappointment comes in it had to end, right? The buildup and the tension is always going to feel. This is why I like Kill Bill Volume 1 better than Volume 2, because I feel like the buildup and the tension just is so great. And when you leave it on that, you're like, oh, what's gonna come next? This is insane. And that leaves you like Ozymandias. That's that, right? Like you get the closure, but also it's like, holy cow, what's gonna happen next? This one doesn't have a what's gonna happen next. It's over.
I guess.
And the fact that you have that, you have that finality, that ending, makes you go, what? It ended? Like it's not even that you're upset or you're mad at the episode, you're just mad that it ended, and it leaves you with a slightly underwhelmed feeling just because it ended, even though the ending is as satisfying as it could have possibly been. Now, all right, so that was one thing. The other thing, let's talk about this whole you saw the end before. You said you've seen that last shot. I was wondering when you had seen it, and if you saw it back in 2013, that makes a little more sense. Because I was wondering, and I've even talked to Todd about this, like, where could he have seen the last shot? Because that last shot is nowhere, right? Like, you don't see that last shot. Like, you don't see memes of that. No one spoils this.
It was
like,
on the newspaper. Yeah, it was on the paper.
Oh, okay.
I worked at Good Samaritan Hospital over in Puyallup. And so they would get like the little paper, and it was like it was in there. I remember seeing it on Facebook too at that time. It was like right with the day after the episode aired. It was like Monday or Tuesday after it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't need to see the show.
Because I know you had said you'd seen it like online and you'd seen like memes of it, and like there are no memes of the last shot of this. Because like I said, people don't spoil this. Like your wife, my wife, other people that have never seen this before don't know how it ends until they watch it. So the fact that, and so I was trying to think, like, well, maybe, and this was my theory that I had working with Todd, that you thought the last shot
with Hillary Swank
was Ozymandias with his face down in the desert dirt, because it looks like he's dead. And because that's a very memeable moment, and you find memes of him just like, and then he falls over, and you see that a lot, and I'm like, well, maybe he saw that and thinks that that's when he dies. And so I was wondering if when we did Ozymandias that you would be like, well, I thought I saw the last shot, but I just saw that shot and it wasn't the ending.
Yeah.
So, but you actually did see the last shot. Okay, that makes more sense.
So the only thing, honestly, that I knew was that there was going to be a machine gun of some kind, and that he died. That's
the machine gun you knew because of the beginning of the season when it pops up, or did you know that was coming?
I knew about the machine gun,
You knew about the machine gun. Okay.
but I didn't know like what it was. Like I knew
Okay.
that he got shot and he died. That's
Got it.
pretty much. We're
Okay.
unraveling this. I'm revealing more than I probably should, but that's what that's what I remember being like. I've seen it, and I saw like like a headline like he was shot, like right when it happened. Like one of my friends like spoiling it on Facebook or something like
Of
that.
course.
That's essentially what it is. Um, but that's all I knew. I didn't know like why or who he killed or anything like that or what he was doing. I just know that that's how it ended. And the shot was like them zooming out, and I didn't know the cops came in either. I didn't know that part. I just saw a still image of it. So
I saw something. I was reading through the IMDb trivia page of this episode,
mhm.
and they talked about how when it zooms out, there the steel bars of the rooftop kind of frame it in a similar aspect of what the art
Oh,
was.
oh. Mm.
And so it looks like he's back in the RV with his lab. When
Ooh,
it
that's
pans out.
interesting.
And
That's
also,
cool.
it's not the only time we've seen the Walter White laying on the ground pan out. You also had him in the crawl space.
Yeah.
And you have that same shot. I mean, it's a when Walt is at the bottom. I don't even know if you'd say he's at the bottom at the end of this. He makes everything right. Like he fixes it all. Like
Yeah.
he realizes that his end is near, and he's not going to go out in solitude and anonymity. He is going to go out the way
Mhm.
he needs to go out. He gets his family the money they need. He saves Jesse. He rights the wrongs of Hank's death. He does it all and goes out on his terms.
He did it for himself.
Mm-hmm. He did it for himself. He did it for himself. Okay.
How does this rank as like a finale? So
That's a
I've
great
thought about
question.
this. So my favorite finale, and I've seen the entire season show a couple times, and every time I see the finale, I always cry. And it's a show you probably would never expect, but it's Monk. It's my favorite season finale of all time. Like
I've never watched an episode of Monk.
The show does get repetitive very easily, and it's like if you think about like the plot of the final episode, it's like, oh, he should have figured that out like a long time ago. Like, but at the same time, though, it's like you're spending time with Tony Shalhoub's Monk character here, and then whenever they play the theme song slowly, and that always gets me too. So they played "It's a Jungle Out There" like really slow. That teared me up. Big Bang Theory
Mhm.
also did the same thing. They slowed down their theme song, and that also got me sad. I thought that was a good finale. Not better. Breaking Bad's better for sure. Scrubs was another one that I also really kind of liked, but that's kind of a Seinfeld thing. They brought all the big cast, and then they's like, oh, actually, college years or whatever college or whatever thing they did.
I don't think I'm realizing thinking about this. I've watched very few shows through to its finality. Like
Yeah.
I like thinking about like last episodes. Like I don't really watch a lot of last episodes.
Yeah, there's like a couple big shows I spent like a lot of hours with, like Walking Dead. I stopped watching after certain characters died. And I was like, yeah, we're done. It's just basically the same thing every week. Game of Thrones, like that whole
yeah,
ending season was rushed and didn't like it.
and everyone kind of hated the ending of Game of Thrones. I didn't mind the ending, but yeah, I wouldn't say it was great. I say I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's disappointing to say the least. But.
I think of some sitcoms, but I mean, like Friends finale was fine.
Mhm.
Wasn't great, but it was fine. Seinfeld was fine. There's a couple like classics that I think of that I remember vividly, but I remember them for their final moment, not necessarily for the actual episode. And
Mhm.
that's Cheers has a
Yeah.
great final moment. MASH. MASH's finale. I don't know if you've seen any MASH,
I haven't
but
seen
MASH
that. Well, I've seen
MASH
probably
was
reruns, but
My dad is still a huge MASH fan, and growing up, MASH was always on, and he still I mean, it's on TV all the time. He still watches at least an hour of MASH every day. But the finale is like this meandering like character study of the main character, and it's like a 2-hour episode.
Wow.
But the final moment and the goodbye written in the rocks is like, it's iconic. Like, that's how you end a show, but it's not because of the episode, it's because of the moment. Sam saying sorry, we're closed, because Cheers is finally closed and over. That's a great moment. It's not the episode though. So this of the and then you have like Dexter's finale was super disappointing.
But we saw the writing. The writing was on the wall on that one.
Yeah. It had been going downhill for a while.
Quick.
Going downhill quick. This it ended while it was on top. It was still like going up, like the last season and the last half of the season, everything was going on full gear and full tilt, and this was as good as it was going to get. And then it ended it, because that's how it needed to end it. It was right there, right then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say another one that ended right is our other sideshow, Barry. Yeah. Barry ended on a great note that was like, oh, it almost felt abrupt how it ended. And this this was building a little bit more than that, but it's a great finale because it ended on top, and it ended on its terms, and it didn't feel like it had to meander its way and make a moment. It just told the story.
Yeah, I thought of two other shows that I really liked the finales of. Brooklyn Nine-Nine had a really kind of solid finale where those characters kind of ended up. I liked it.
That's one where I abandoned it for the last season or two. I loved that show at the beginning, and I just got away from it.
Yeah, it's a solid one. And New Girl too.
Another one. I loved New Girl, and then the last couple seasons I didn't watch.
That's a crazy show too. It's like Arlette loved that show, and they always had it on. I was like, oh, this show again. I'm like, okay, then I'll give it a shot. And I was like, hey, do you mind actually just starting from the beginning? And we just binged it, and I was like, this is actually pretty good.
It's a great show. It was a great show. So, but I never got to the end of it. So I still haven't gotten to the end of The Office. I stopped like a half season from the end, and it wasn't even that it had gotten. It hadn't even. It's not even that it got bad. We just got away from it. Like life happens, and you move, and it's like, oh yeah, we haven't watched Office in like 2 months.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I forgot about that show. Yeah, because I watched that show a couple times too, but I always stopped the final season because when Michael's gone, it's like whatever. But the actual like series finale of that show is actually the best episode I think personally in the last season. So it's a solid one, not necessarily like anywhere close to like Breaking Bad or anything, but it's crazy like giving up on the shows, because there's a lot of shows like I've started or just been kind of disappointed with like their season finales or series finales or whatever. So, and some shows just get canceled before you even get to the finale.
Right, like one of them I think of when you're talking about finales. Family, as a kid, we watched Full House, and Full House just had a regular random season finale, and then they found out they were canceled. And so it was like months after the episode had been shot, they came back for their curtain call because the show was over, and like they all had different haircuts, and it was weird, but it was that's how that one ended. It got canceled, and yeah, but I love how this one, it like I said, it goes out on its terms. Vince Gilligan is a mad genius. I can already say I got him down as one of my MVPs, because
it's the MVP of the show and the season.
Yeah, it's just good. It's just good. All right, let's actually break this down a little more. Best scene of this final episode:
Skylar Walt. The final, Skylar Walt getting that final like bit of closure, and hearing Walt say, "I did it because of me, not because of my family." Like that's the lie I told myself. It was because it was family. I was good at it. It's damn good. Like that's such a powerful like realization. And then like I don't if he says family or he says anything different than myself, I don't think Skylar says no, you can't see Holly.
Yeah.
You can leave. Because he said he was honest in that scene. He's like, yeah, you can see on Holly one more time. I think even Skylar knows that yeah, he's dead after tonight. Like that he's dead.
Oh,
And
he was totally coming. She could tell he was coming to say goodbye.
yeah.
And especially he looked horrible, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he looked. What's crazy is Arletta, like he kind of looks like season 1 Walt, but just with more facial hair. In a way, skinnier. But
I read something on the trivia page that he ends the show in the exact same clothes he started the show.
He's not in his underwear though.
No. But like the beginning, like the first opening scene where we first see him, like when he's washing cars with Bogdan, like he's in that jacket and slacks and the sweater, and that's what he's wearing. Which is, another thing that just kind of brings it all full circle.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got that scene down too, but there's so many good ones in here too. The Elliot and Gretchen stuff is fascinating, and just he meanders his way into the house and is looking, just talking, like it's just like he's so and just so matter of fact with them, and like, Elliot, if that's how this is gonna go, you're gonna need a bigger knife.
Yeah. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
And then tells him this is how it's gonna go, and this is what you're gonna do. Because you're gonna make this right. And you could tell he's still acting on that premise that you screwed me out of this. And you owe me. And this is how you're gonna show it. Not by your charity. You're not gonna give me anything. You're gonna make sure my family gets what they deserve.
So we're not gonna give you your drug money. You give that to them yourself.
Yeah. It's like I can't. Like that him coming that reals that you can tell he did a lot of thinking in his solitude.
It's a long drive. First of all.
Well, not only that, but how long was he in the wilderness by himself, right? How long was he in that shack?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
And then the just the end. Like even like just the nod between Walt and Jesse. Like that, like Jesse's going to get in the car and he just gives him a nod like that. And that's all he needs. Like, you did good. You did good. Ken wins Bogdan douchebag of the episode.
Gretchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the Gretchen's, I was like, Elliot was but the guy, like, she like limped wrist his shake, like barely 5 seconds, like less than like barely shook his hand, like just being kind of very matter of fact, like kind of rude to him. Even I get it, but like your life's being kind of threatened. You don't know what he's gonna do, and he busts out the two gifted, the most talented snipers that he could.
Talent. They don't got it.
I like how that is now like the Skinny and Badger like theme quote.
It has to be. Right when I was like thinking about like, how do I make this premise? Oh, that's the perfect one. That's the good one. But anyway, it's like thinking to herself, like, and also they're talking about the food they're eating. It's like they're kind of coming out like, yeah, these are like the snobby. They're like looking down at. I don't know. It's a very interesting dynamic, and you could tell there was like scorned lovers at times too, the way they're talking to each other. But Elliot's like a coward, but he tries to defend him, but obviously it's like he's just kind of trying to like negotiate his way out to keep for their safety type of thing.
He's Walt before he broke.
Exactly.
Like that's exactly how Walt would have handled it.
That's true.
That's
how he handled it basically when they were picking on Walter Jr. until he got upset.
Yeah,
essentially.
I get what you're saying. I don't have any problem with Gretchen and Elliot and exactly how they handle the situation. I think they are perfectly just and right in handling it the way they do. Because I mean, there was a falling out. Okay, there was a falling out that happens. They gave him what was what it was worth at the time when as his severance when he walked away. It's like, okay, you're 1/3 of this. Here's your third of what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
And then it exploded. That's not their fault that it exploded after he left. That's not their fault at all.
No.
And they owed him nothing at that point. He was out.
And plus, too, he lied about Gretchen and Elliot too.
And even then they offered to pay. Why? Because they understood that he was a good friend, that he was so integral in what was going on, and that he missed out on it. It's like we want to help because we have the means to. And why aren't you standing right next to us? Like, and they were. I have no problem with the offer, and Walt took it wrong. And then you get to what's going on now, and the lie. Once they find the lie, of course they're going to react the way they did. And then you get to the end, yeah, they got a multi-million-dollar business and just found out one of their founders is a meth lord. Of course they got to distance themselves from him.
Yeah, sure,
and they're doing what they have. It's like damage control. Like we do this or the company's over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have no problem with anything that they did. They handled themselves exactly how anyone would. And even like the birthday party at the beginning too, right? Like Elliot gets his pack of top ramens. Like this is the best gift I could possibly get because this is the best. Like this is like the nostalgia pick.
Yes,
this
what we lived off of.
I know. Yeah. And he loved it because he understood what Walt meant. And so I have no problem with Elliot Gretchen. I think especially, I mean, sure, she was a little cold, but I think she's justified.
Well, I didn't have really, yeah. But I was like,
my douchebag is Lydia. Lydia is like, oh my word. Her
I like that pick actually better. That's a good pick.
Her just complete like anal retentiveness on everything. And having her chamomile tea with soy milk, and I need 10 more packets of stevia, and has to meet like why was Walt there? Walt was there because he knew that her meet time was that time, that day, that place, every single week. That's how this worked. And she's the one that said, "You're not meeting him, you're killing him." And she's the one that told Todd to go attack Skylar. In fact, she wanted Skylar dead. Mm-hmm. She was like, why did you leave her alive? She knows my face. And she gets it the best. Like she had scrounged her way and survived every way possible until then. Right? Like Walt did what Mike couldn't do. And that was actually, put the metaphorical bullet in Lydia's head. And he did it. And yes, finally a kill with the ricin. It'd been such a talking point the entire show. This is the first time it was actually used successfully. So, Yep. Yeah, Lydia is the douchebag of this episode.
That's good. I also had Marie
because it's
Carol or Becky, whatever her name is, Becky or Carol.
Okay, valid point. I'll take it.
Becky's on the left, Carol's on the right. Did you do anything to Carol?
He just said hi Becky, or hi Carol.
Becky, Carol, whoever. Yeah. He's the Unabomber. Yeah.
The Pink Man Stick Man award.
Oh, Marty Robin. That's the cassette tape that he put us out of the glove box, and that's who it was. So I think that's the only really good option here. I think Todd definitely has stepped up his game from the previous episode. But
not quite as awkward.
Nice shirt. My blouse. Yeah, that's it. He's trying. He tries so hard.
My stick man is Walt's trunk machine gun.
Mm,
because
definitely
that
got it in.
thing definitely got it in multiple times into multiple things.
There's a lot of back and
Oh,
forth.
and yeah, I mean that machine gun, like in a previous life, was George Clooney's project in his basement in Burn After Reading.
It wasn't shooting
like-
blanks. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Hello, it's Osborne Cox. Who the are you?
Hello.
Yeah. It was George Clooney's chair in Burn After Reading in a previous life, and now it's his machine gun, and yes, it's not shooting blanks. That is true.
Walter's like, say hello to my big friend.
That's going to just rotate back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
Best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo.
Hey, it's High School Jesse.
High School Jesse. Oh, great call. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, High School Jesse.
School
Because
Jesse.
I was like, what's he doing? I was like, oh, that's Woodshop. He told a story about Woodshop. He's making a box, his favorite box that he told the group leader.
The only actual one I think that was new, like I was thinking that we weren't going to get anybody, but I think Alex Giannopoulos as the waiter is the only actual new one. The waiter that waits on
the other guy.
Yeah, the waiter that waits on Todd and Lydia and eventually Walt.
Yeah.
He was just leaving. Good to see you. Goodbye.
Or Walter White's alter ego because of whatever that reporter name that he was going off of.
Oh, I like that one too.
Or the ladies like, oh yeah, they're going to be in later tonight. Oh yeah, here's their address. Maybe that's an LVP because they told the address, but yeah, it's another one.
The old Joe Gomi minor character award. Why is it Badger and Skinny?
Because
There's a thing called talent. They don't got it.
Hey, they did their job right. They may not have felt good about it, but the cash made them feel a lot better about it.
A little better, yeah. I definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm copacetic. Let's go.
Yeah, totally copacetic. Man, we thought it was you cooking that blue stuff, man. That wasn't you.
Alaska hunting Wolverines.
Yeah, Jesse moved to Alaska. That's what we heard.
Yeah.
Badger, like, thank you. Thank you for bringing back Badger and Skinny.
Yeah.
So much. Thank you.
One more time, maybe.
All right. The Cow House. Dumbest thing said of the episode.
Nice shirt. You mean blouse? Well, that's a good one.
It's nice shirt. I like the color.
Yeah. Hey, Becky. That's the two that I had. That's great. But
the other one. All right. The one I have, the nice shirt is a good one. The one I have it wasn't something said, but the dumbest thing that was done was when Badger and Skinny got into the car. Badger's laser pointer was still on.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like, you turn it off. You don't. Why is it still on? Come on, guys.
Good point. Good point.
All right. Did you have any problems or anything you found outdated with this one?
Unabomber being referenced.
Well, yeah. I think you could still reference that fine.
Yeah, I think, and people understand it at least. Baby bumpers. Okay, so baby bumpers. When Holly was sleeping in the crib, and I was like, aren't those like not allowed anymore? Like those bumpers on the crib. So yeah, they actually say that can cause death from the babies. Not allowed anymore. So
my wife said the exact same thing. Like after the scene was over, she just said no more baby bumpers.
No more baby bumpers. And also, it's like very apparent that there's no cell phones in this universe, like, or really good cell phones. So like landline phones, like they're great to have when you like no power, or but when the cell phone towers go down. But still,
yeah.
But that's a theory that I had, really.
All right, I have a theory.
Okay.
Not really a theory. I have a question that might lead to a theory. Where's the money? Where's the other 5 barrels worth of money? Like Uncle Jack was going to tell him where it was, and then the cops show up.
Okay,
and the only one still alive, and and no one is alive on that compound. Jesse is the only one that ever stepped foot on that compound that's still alive. Like, is the money hidden somewhere? Is this something where we could have like a new like Breaking Bad story at some point where the money is discovered?
I think that possibly the barrels did get split up between the people. I think Todd for sure has a barrel. I can see Todd having a barrel.
Well, why? Why would they need it?
Because why does Todd need a barrel of money? Why wouldn't you
Well,
want a
but
barrel?
why would he have his own barrel off to the side? And they're bringing in more money too.
Because
Like Jesse's still cooking all the meth and all the money's still coming in.
Because if it wasn't for Todd, they wouldn't have this connection with Walter and this money, and then all the
Yeah.
meth.
So you think that Todd just has a barrel sitting in his living room, or like that's what I'm saying? Like the family's going to keep all the money in one spot. Where's Bill? Where's the money? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. I don't remember if we get an answer to that question in El Camino. I don't
think it matters.
I'm curious. Midlife crisis moment.
I got two. Routine. You're very routine based. Like obviously, have your set routine. You got to do this. You got to do that at this time. You got to do this at this time. And then I don't know why I got very nostalgic about water out of a hose, but I did. So there we go.
My wife got disgusted by water out of a hose. I'm like, it's water. It's not the gasoline. She goes, yeah, but I'm like, come on.
Yeah. I
My
wasn't
midlife
allowed
crisis
inside
moment.
because it was daylight. So go play outside.
There you go.
cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My midlife crisis moment is the moment when you actually stop lying to yourself. Like when Walt says, I did it for me. Like we all tell ourselves the things to justify what we do. It's like, oh no, I'm doing this because of this. And we all have that moment where like, yeah, I should really just stop lying to myself and just be honest with myself of why I actually do stuff.
Yeah, good call.
That was mine.
I love it.
LVP. My LVP is keeping your keys in an unlocked car.
Thank you. That's the worst trope of all time. Right when he looked up, I was like, oh God, here we go. And also, too, the car was unlocked. Those cops were actually truly looking for him. The one spot they got wiped away was by the lock. Like,
okay, I don't think they were looking for him yet. I think they were on their way to the bar. Like my wife was saying the same. It's like, you don't look in the car that's parked on the side. I think they're still going to the bar. Like this was when they first showed up. And you run into a car that's covered in snow. That car hasn't gone anywhere anytime recently, and no one doesn't look like anyone's in it. So you're just gonna go to where someone. Like if you call in and say, I'm Walter White and I'm calling from this number, you don't expect them to run. You expect them to be there.
Well, the only thing the only way to tell that somebody's in that car is, footprints in the snow, but whatever.
I mean, fair.
But the keys.
I think it shows that you're in. I think it shows that you're in the middle of rural New Hampshire, and that's why someone left their keys in an unlocked car. Because, I mean, everybody knows everybody. Why would anything else happen? Okay,
I was kind of expecting a pistol to be in the glove box, honestly, too. So,
MVP.
Walt. He was honest with himself. He's got it right.
Yeah, Walt is like his genius plans worked perfect this time. I've got a couple other things. A couple other things is
Baby Blue, but it's the bomb.
The final
song.
Yeah. Baby Blue.
Baby, my baby blue.
It's perfect. And the first line of that song I love too. Like while he's still standing, you hear the first line of it, which is guess I got what I deserved.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Guess I got what I deserved. And it's like, oh, like this is like the perfect song to end this on. So that, and then the other one I'm gonna say is, and this is kind of like an overall like this show MVP in some ways. But definitely this one, the title of this episode, Felina. So a couple. I did a little deep dive on the topic. I'm like, what does this title mean? So, a couple things I saw. One, it's the name of the girl in the opening song he's listening to on the cassette tape.
Mhm.
So you've got that. It's a mixed up version of the word finale. Like
Mhm.
it's a anagram, I think. Yep. But my favorite one is if you break the word Felina up into atomic elements.
Oh wow.
It's iron, Fe is iron, Li is lithium, Na is sodium. And what I saw was the title is a play off of the slogan "Blood, Sweat, and Tears." Blood for iron, tears for sodium, but instead of sweat in the middle, lithium, meth. It's blood, meth, and tears.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert! Hooray!
That's so cool. Isn't that
pretty
so?
cool.
That's so cool.
It's pretty cool though. It's pretty cool.
I don't know if they meant that, but it's
Blood, meth,
pretty
and tears.
awesome.
That should have been your banner. Blood, meth, and tears.
It should have been my banner. I'm gonna
Yeah.
change it right now. But yeah, I just love that.
You get MVP. Good job. I like it.
There we go. Blood, meth, and tears. That's what we put into it. Blood, meth, and tears.
Yep, he did it for himself. He was good. He's damn good.